Hey guys, how's it going? This is your boy Coach Econ, and this is my weekly vlog. New vision for your nutrition, my unfiltered perspective, tips and advice on health. Today's topic is bad genetics. All right, so let's talk about it. So I really wanted to talk about, in my opinion, the role genetics plays for most people, and hoping to debunk a lot of the ideology when it comes to your limits related to genetics. Okay, so first and foremost, there are things that for sure that we know we are unable to control due to genetics. For example, your height, your weight, your race, hair color, eye color. These things primarily, when you're born or even before you're born, these things are chosen for you. And so these things genetically are, things that are totally out of your control. Now, on a deeper level, genetically, you may be predisposed to having larger hips, bigger calves, small arms, long torso, short torso. Some of these things are also, you could say, genetically predisposed to your either your bloodline or your family heritage. However, when we're speaking about genetics as it relates to obesity, big bones, things of that nature, there's a very small percentage of people who would literally get these scapegoats, as I like to call them. And so I didn't want to spend too much time on it, but I did want to kind of touch on this because it is very important for people who are pretty much throwing in the towel because they believe genetically they're unable to reach a point because of who they are and what family they were born from or through, and help to motivate those people and give them a different perspective on the actual truth, the factual truth. For every time that genetics are applied to weight, it's applied with the caveat that this is a role. It is a role that it could play. And by saying that, in every single article, and for the majority of the articles that I've read, I can honestly look at that and say a role, like anything else, is not something to totally determine anything. It's ultimately something that may make it more challenging or more difficult, but ultimately it does not determine the end result. And so if someone is playing a role in your life, they're not necessarily living your life. What they're doing is they're a part of the end result, or they're a part of the journey of your life. And so that's how we want to look at genetics. When it comes to obesity, very commonly, what I have found, and this is extremely important, so please listen in, what I find is that for most people, I would say the majority of people that deal with the excuse that they're genetically predisposed to certain obesity, certain heart disease, certain cancers, things of that nature, not to downplay any of that, but normally what you'll find, for instance, let's say that you have a mother with high cholesterol issues, and you'll have the children, son or daughter of that mother, who believe that they also are going to have issues with high cholesterol. If you look really detailed into that family, what you'll likely see is a lot of traditional bad habits. What do I mean by that? I mean that you'll see a lot of the same bad food choices. You see a lot of the bad exercise habits, a lot of the bad cooking traditions, whether that be the type of oil that's being used, the constant snacks and juices, the sugars that are being used. And so what you ultimately have is not so much a genetic issue as much as a traditional issue when it comes to food. And so because grandma has ham hocks, oxtails and pig feet, those items have been now, passed down to the younger generations, and somehow everybody's confused why this heart disease or this high cholesterol is also playing a stair-stepping role through each generation. And so as each generation makes the excuse that, hey, you know what, it's because, genetically, genetically my mom had it, my dad, so ultimately I'm going to have it. No, not necessarily. The main problem may be that you unfortunately have to be a little bit more cautious in the food choices you have based on your family bloodline, but not to say that you're done for. As a matter of fact, you could ultimately be the one in the family who takes a turn based on the fact that you've identified that your family heritage, your traditions have not been conducive. More times than not, if you follow the trail of the family, you'll see that likely food has played a big role in the way that the family has provided knowledge on what to eat, when to eat it, and how much to eat. And that actually has been the bigger role in playing, not the genetics, but that's been the bigger role in playing the determining factor on the obesity and health issues. It may mean that you don't have as much stamina due to the fact that your rib cage may be a little slightly smaller, but it never means that you are a lost cause. It never means that you have to throw in the towel. It never means that because everyone in your family and your bloodline is going through a particular issue that you have no choice. And it sounds very elementary, but I do believe that there's a point where people get to when they're struggling with their health, when they just pretty much say, you know what, I don't even have control of this anyway because of my family, because of my genetics, because of my DNA. I'm predisposed to certain things, and that's just my death sentence. For the vast majority of people, genetics are not the reason that you are in the position that you are health-wise. If you are struggling with your health, if you are pre-diabetic, if you are someone who is overweight, or if you're someone who's struggling with weight issues and you're using your genetics as a crutch or reason, I'm not going to be too harsh, but if you're using it as a reason, I would just say, let's look deeper into what actually is the issue. If you are in control and you're able to manipulate your thoughts into the right direction and do the right thing and actually get where you want to go. So it's your boy Coach Econ saying there is no such thing as bad genetics, at least not for the majority of people, and likely what you're dealing with is an opportunity to go against the grain, go against the bad habits that you've learned, and actually get better sooner. Follow me on my social sites if you enjoyed this. Comment, subscribe, follow me, Coach Econ or at the Life Changer. But again, it's your boy Coach signing out. Y'all be good.